Welcome to the Matt Beck Podcast. Woke up this way. He's got a lot of cool stuff he's gonna show you today. The latest news, industry topics, and business tips. For all hairstylists and salon owners, it's time to flip the script. Grab your precision scissors, barber combs, and swivel twist razors. Let's cut a bob, a quick shag, pixie cut with a little bit of flavor. Check out the live classes, product reviews, let's rock on. Don't forget to check out freesaloneducation.com. I woke up this way. It's gonna be a great day.
All right.
Chop it, clip it, spray it, flip it. I woke up this way.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the show. Happy Friday to everyone. Super excited. I'm always super excited. Why do I always start every show saying super excited? Either way, it's Friday. Made it through the week. Launched this show this week. Didn't even think that this was going to be a thing until Wednesday, and then all of a sudden it exploded. It turned into a show that I'm loving doing with you guys. So I see all of you guys logging in on the chat. Make sure that you start texting me, start adding in the comments what technique you want to see today. I got a ton of stuff lined up, but I want to know what you want to learn because that's what's important, right? So the other thing is we're going to try to theme these. So every day next week, I want to try to figure out what we're going to do special on those days. But today we're going to do a funny video because it's Friday and it's hilarious. So we're going to kick it off with a funny video. This is just to set it up. And some of you guys may have seen this before, but this is pretty hilarious. So I'm just going to play it. This is a lady cutting her hair at home. So those hairdressers out there that are worried about people cutting their own hair, just watch this experience here.
Ladies, I've decided because I can't get the hairdressers, I'm going to cut my own hair. So I'm going to give you a few tips about cutting your own hair. First of all, make sure it's clean. Nothing worse than cutting dirty hair. But just to do your fringe, take a chunk.
Yep. Grab it up.
Just literally hack it. You can tidy it up later on. See, that's a nice straight line. So I'll have no bother straightening that up. Now, you need to get it's the same all the way around. Just like that. And you can see it's now starting to take shape. And a little bit at this side. That long at that side. So yes, as you can see, it's actually rather nice. I'm quite proud of that. If you want to thin, just chop. I've seen them do this in the hairdressers, so just
That's
chop.
a point cutting.
But you'll need to do this all over. See, it's falling into place now. Remember, ladies, you're more skillful than you probably think. This will brush down, so don't worry too much about it. And remember, the top, I like mine quite short, so it's very difficult in the mirror. Stick it in my hand. There we go.
My favorite. She can't even find it. That's the hardest
So
part. I mean, if anybody's
the
tried to cut their own hair, that is like the hardest
basics.
part.
I'll just cut that bit off there. So there you go. Now, when that's washed, it'll be lovely. So don't worry too much about the ends. And another thing, I haven't got my glasses on and I'm as blind as a bat. So I'm going by feel, as I normally do with anything, and I can feel. I'll have a little bit more off there.
I love the chat right now.
Yeah, that's about right. So yes, it's coming on lovely. So
the texture is amazing.
and by the time we've come out of this lockdown, this will have grown. So I'm not too worried about if it's a bit untidy, but do have a go. It's quite therapeutic, really, when you can do your own. I can do my own nails and I can do everything else. So don't worry too much about that. And I'm not too worried now because I don't wear this with the antics with my husband now. There's no dressing up. So don't worry. But do have a go.
She's the best.
Bye.
Did she get you guys? Some of you guys said you saw that. I'm sure you did. It's a viral video, but just funny. And I figured we'd start our Friday with something funny. And you got to realize that people cutting their hair at home, especially their own hair, it's not easy. It's a silly thing. Like I can't cut my own hair. I've been trying to do that for 16 years so that I didn't have to worry about getting somebody else, and I still can't do it very well. So I can do it well enough to look into a camera and not turn to the side so you can see the rest. So awesome seeing you guys in the chat. I love it. I love seeing all of you guys being excited. Good morning to everyone. And some of you guys, it's afternoon. We are going to get into a video. So today's first video is going to be a triangular graduation that I just filmed, and I haven't even put it out on YouTube yet. So I want to play that video for you guys. And then I want to see your requests. What do you guys want to see? Men's cuts, balayage, layered haircuts, pixie cuts. What do you want to see? Let me know in the chat. Text me on the phone number. However you want to get a hold of me, let me know, and we'll get going on that. So we're going to start off. I want to fire off this brand new video exclusive to you guys, unless you were on the app. If you're on the FSE Now app, you saw it yesterday because it comes out on the app the day before. It'll be out on YouTube later today by itself. But for now, I'm going to play it. We're going to go over it afterwards. We're going to talk about it, and then we'll get into another video. So let me know what you guys want to see, and I'll get those videos loaded up. Thank you so much for joining me this Friday. Really excited to get the show going. Thanks so much. All right, here we go. All right, guys, so the focus of today's video is going to be cutting a triangular bob. Now, a couple new things about this particular technique is I'm going to be working from my weak side to my strong side. Now, that is something that I picked up recently, and I loved the tip. So I want to go through the sectioning. Sectioning is straight down, center back. And then that first parting that I'm taking is going to mimic the jawline. So really stay focused on that, but we're going to keep the sectioning nice and simple. So mimic the jawline and then clip it up and away. Now notice I push that hair with the comb. I get the grain of the hair, the base of the hair going in the same direction, and then I just slide a clip up underneath. That makes it easier for sectioning later. Now you'll also notice that I'm wearing gloves. I'm wearing gloves because of our current situation in the industry. I'm personally practicing cutting hair with gloves because I want to see how it feels. I want to get used to it. I definitely know that maybe it's not a forever thing, but it's a right now thing that we probably will be cutting hair wearing gloves. So the angle at which I'm cutting, this is my weak side. My fingers are pointing down. My elbow is up. And whenever your elbow is up, it wants to fall. It wants to fall with gravity. So that makes this my difficult side because I tend to have it end up a little heavier. So what I'm doing with this is I really get to concentrate on what angle I have and not trying to match it to the other side. So that is why I think this technique is so beneficial. So notice that I'm following the head shape, working my way through. My finger is going to be basically pointing towards that jawline area, and it's parallel to my parting. So I take the parting along the jawline, so it mimics that, and then my finger angle can match up with the parting, and then I know I'm staying consistent throughout this entire cut. So I go through, I section through, I comb everything over, comb it up, clip it away, and then I go through and I take my angle. So that's a couple things that have always been difficult for me when doing this haircut, is just staying consistent. So now notice that my elevation is not really changing a whole lot as I work up the head shape. I'm keeping a nice low elevation. The head shape is turning, so that's why that graduation is going to start to build up. So we basically start the bottom of this haircut at a 90-degree angle, and then as I work up the head shape, it drops. It gets lower and lower, and that graduation starts to get heavier and heavier. So just be aware of that. If you've got a client with thick hair, you might want to elevate slightly more than somebody that has fine hair. I might keep it at a nice neutral 45 degrees for that. So just working my way through, staying consistent with it. I'm going to just let you guys watch this part of the video. We're going to go through it, and then I'm going to talk to you when we get to the opposite side. So one thing I do want to remind you guys of as I'm working towards the side of the head, the elevation is going to change because the head shape is changing. So right here, I'm elevating to keep that above 0 degrees. So straight down, straight out would be 0. I'm pulling it up just a little bit, but then as I work my way over to the side of the head, it drastically changes. So now my elevation is just slightly up. I want to build a little bit more weight on the side. The density is different. So as I work to the side, I drop my elevation down. So I start with a higher elevation and then I work my way to the side. The other key thing that I want you to notice is as I worked up to the top part of the head with each section, then I moved into a little lighter, more of a point cut than a blunt cut. Now you can blunt cut, no problem, but if you have a client that has thicker hair, medium hair, this is a technique I like to do to just soften the edge, because no matter what, we're going to go in dry and we're going to soften it anyways. So I do a little bit softer point cut instead of blunt, so that later on I don't have to do as much work when I go in on the dry cut. This, you'll get a good angle of how much I elevate. It's not a lot, but I elevate it just slightly so it softens the edge. Now we're going to move on to our strong side. So this is where my fingers are pointing up, my elbow is pointing down. I can stay way more consistent this way, and I just work through. One other thing that you can see is I'm using the wider teeth of the comb. I don't want to pull a ton of tight tension. That's just the way I like to do it. I like to have a little more freedom in my shape. So I use the wide teeth of the comb. They're not that wide. It's a YS Park 336 comb. Actually, this might be a 334 comb. Sorry about that. YS Park 334 comb. And I go through and I cut it using those wide teeth. So working diagonal forward through the section, combing everything, clipping it away, just like the opposite side. So we're going to work our way all the way through, try to stay as consistent as possible with our elevation, and then I'll catch you on the dry cut portion. All right, so now we're going to move into the style portion of the video. This is the Joico Defy Damage Protective Shield. Basically, it guards against any thermal or UV damage. So I'm going to work that through. Going to be doing not only a flat wrap blow dry, so working the hair around the head, but then also going through with an iron and working that with a flat iron as well to smooth the hair out and get it ready for the dry cut. So work that flat wrap all the way around. Let that product kind of keep the hair nice and shiny and healthy, and then we're going to go in and start our dry cutting. So one thing I want to quickly go over as we get into the dry cut is that I was taught in school that you really focus kind of on that outer perimeter during that wet cut portion. And what I've learned later in learning hair cutting and watching other hair cutters, that it's so important to focus on the outer perimeter last and really stamp that in. So what I did was I go through and I just kind of customize and develop that outer perimeter as I go through. So I use the tip of the scissor, go through, cut and define that line. And now I'm going to work into the back, doing a little extra elevation and a little extra point cutting just to soften that graduation. It's kind of hard to tell sometimes in the wet cut exactly how that's going to fall dry. So as you go through, you just use a couple techniques that help soften that edge, and then you have it laying nice and soft. So I work my way through all the way through the back, a little bit deeper point cut towards the crown area. So that lays even a softer veil over. And then I finish it off with the Joico Joy Mist Medium Hold Hairspray. This is their number 6 hold level. And you can see here's the end result. Nice, consistent triangular graduation. Hope you guys like this. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. Here you go. All right. So what'd you guys think of that video? Let's see. Oh, faded in. What'd you guys think of the video? That is the debut of it. It's not even out anywhere else except for FSE Now, the app, which I'm going to promote in a second because I know not all of you guys are on there. Now, here's two things I want you to do. I want you to write down that after this live show, after we learn a lot, you're going to go to FSE Now and download the app on the App Store, Android, and iPhone. Or you're going to go to freesalоneducation.com, click the link to go download the app, create your free profile. It's free. All of it's free. And you'll be able to get exclusive access to these videos before they come out on anything else. I love that you guys love the haircut. I love that you love the app. Really excited about it. I literally woke up in the middle of the night because the app developer sent me a message and it was a screenshot of what the new design looks like. So I'm mixing together all of my favorite apps into one to create this hairdresser community online. And he sent me an image of it and we designed it all up and we've been working on it and it comes out next week. So the update will be up next week. It looks so good, guys. So you're all going to love it. And I can't wait for you to be on there. So that's that. I'll show you guys what the app looks like. And the other thing that I noticed is that a lot of people watch this. Thousands of people watch this show every day. But not a lot of people like it and not everybody's sharing it. And if you guys could do me a favor and every single one of you hit the share button on Facebook, or if you're on YouTube later on, grab that link and go share it, or hit that share button on YouTube and share it to Facebook just so that we can keep growing this thing. Because I want this show over the next couple weeks to become the biggest show in the hair industry, because this is going to be the future of hair shows online for sure. Because I've got videos from Sam Villa coming up. I've got my buddy Johnny Livingston coming up with some men's cutting. I've got some Paul Mitchell videos coming up. So tons and tons of really fun and educational videos on the burner for you guys today. I love seeing Christy. Thank you so much for sharing. I love seeing that. Stack Bob cut for beginners. That's a good request. All right. Tons of stuff coming up, guys. I want to share with you guys the app so you can know what you're going to download. So here is FSE Now. Go check it out on the App Store as soon as this is done. Here it is. So that's the app. What do you guys think? So you don't have to go download it now because I know you're on your phone probably watching this. Just do it after. Do it after the show's over. And that would be awesome. You can share your work, do all that stuff. Angel's saying downloaded the app and it won't let me in. Just send me an email. If anybody has issues getting in, which sometimes people do, just send me an email, matt@freesalоneducation.com. I'll get back to you. I got back to somebody right before the show about it. Could have been them. If not, just write me. Not everybody's having trouble. There's thousands of people on there. We're about to hit over 2,000 stylists, and we just launched it last Wednesday. So tons and tons of stylists on there. So I know people can get on. I just have to help some people along the way. Nicole's saying, you're a good DJ. Did you do that in the past? Yes, I did. That was the job I did before hair. So it's all coming full circle. And everything we do, this is what I've learned. Everything you do in life, everything you experience kind of can help you later in life. I had a lot of jobs before I became a hairdresser, and a lot of them play a key role in everything that I do now. So So yeah, it's fun. This is super fun because I loved that job and I love doing hair. So it's really, really coming full circle. All right. I want to share with you guys, I had a request for some razor techniques. I also had a request for some block color and some men's cutting. So that's definitely the next videos coming up. I want to share with you this Sam Villa video, which I think is really cool. He's going to share with you a bunch of tips on razor cutting and how to use a razor and different ways to texturize hair. So super cool video. We filmed it right here in the FSE studio with Sam. So I'm excited to share it with you guys. Let's get into the video. Here it is.
Hi, my friend. Sam Villa here, Redken Global Artistic Ambassador. Today I want to share with you a really great technique to create a razored edge of texture inside the top area or wherever you really want it. And there's two ways that we're going to do this working with a razor. So let's get started. So what I want you to do is imagine where it is that you want to take weight out, or where do you want to create a little bit more floaty type of effect with a razor. So let's imagine around the face frame area. So let's go to the face frame area, and I'm going to work with our razor. And with our razor, what we've done is we've given you a handle that actually swivels. Watch what I mean. See how I can rotate that? And the reason being is because the golden angle for a razor is a diagonal 45. When you go too flat, too horizontal, you're ripping the cuticle, or if you're perpendicular, you're working the cuticle. The magical angle is a 45-degree angle. So we've made that so you can see if I set the razor straight up and down, there's a 90. Flat, there's a 90, half of that is 45. So now I can stabilize that instead of me moving my wrist and constantly changing that angle as I'm working. Now I'm going to approach this with a rule of, I'm actually going to break the rule of using a razor on dry hair. Now allow me to set this up for you. I was taught never to use a razor on dry hair. There were so many things that I was told not to do that I find that I'm doing now. And the reason being because of the discoveries we have. Number one, I'm never going to take a razor just on dry hair itself. I'm always going to use a product to buffer it. So I want to buffer that cuticle, especially because I'm going on dry. So I'm going to use my Redken One United, 25 different benefits. So I get a little bit more slip with the angle of that razor, and I get a little bit more of a buffering or conditioning effect on the section that I'm working with. So I just sprayed right over that section. I'm going to take a diagonal section back. Now watch what we're going to do. So I want to take weight out of this area that you see right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to think just like a colorist in terms of like when they highlight, how they highlight. So watch what I'm going to do. Take the razor, I'm going to take it flat. So I'm going to control, do I want a micro weave? Do I want a chunky weave? You can control the amount of hair that you take off. So I'm just going to go in just slowly, just weaving. Now let's talk about the angle. Now watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask myself, do I need to take out a lot of weight? If so, I'm going to turn the angle 45 down to the hair that's underneath, and I'm going to go after that. Or do I want to create a little bit more kind of a layered effect where it's a little bit more visible? Now I'm going to rotate the angle above to a 45 here. So you decide what you want to take. So let's go after more weight. So thinking about that, I'm going to turn the angle down, and now look how I keep that as a 45. Now a razor is a very temperamental tool. Okay, it has emotions of its own. So the weight of the razor is what's taking out the hair. This grip is not tight. Look at my thumb. It's very, very soft. So I'm letting the weight of the razor actually take care of it. And because of the angle, I'll go in and get a nice, beautiful effect in terms of how I'm layering this. Now watch how the weight has been taken out of that section. So let's go to the opposite side and take a look at it again on the opposite side. So it's just a matter of just weaving. Rather than me going in and using the whole razor, I'm actually changing the whole entire silhouette. Let's just go in there and think of it more of extracting weight, but what you're gonna do is give this hair that's a texture of being very stiff, very broomstick-like, you're giving it more of a softer, pliable texture. So just weave, you control what you wanna weave, just like a highlight. Remember, I'm rotating down to a 45. Now just glide, just easily glide. Let the razor do the work for you. Visually see how much weight you want to take out and slide out, and now you've taken out a lot of weight. Okay, let's go to another area now. Let's go a section above that. So let's say I wanted to incorporate more layers into this. See, I've got these layers floating on top of this length. So if I want to incorporate and I say I need a little bit more volume, I need a little bit more lift, or I want to have a little bit more movement when I tickle that hair, then I want you to come through, take a section. Okay, Sam, do you find taking a diagonal section works great with this? I do. The reason being, diagonal is going to fall softer. What I don't want to do is horizontal. Remember, when I go horizontal, even though you're working with a rate, you're building that weight. So think about what it is that you want to. I want this just to fall back, and I want to fall very soft. So I'm going diagonal. Now watch this time. Okay, let's go through. Let's weave just like a highlight. Think about just like a highlight. Okay, now watch how I'm going to come through. And first thing I need to be aware of is product is not an option, it is a necessity. So for all of my friends out there that are panicking because I'm using a razor on dry hair, please understand I'm using some product to buffer that. But yes, rules are made to be broken. That's why the industry is where we are today. Remember, we were all taught to cut precision in the beginning. Then we discovered if we texture hair, we're going to get a different end result. So learn to really change the way you do things. Now, what's most important when we do this, Sam? Where you turn the angle is where the cutting is going to start. So watch. I don't want to float back here and turn the angle here. Look at where I'm going after. I'm going after the hair that I weave. So see that top? So don't start there. I'm going to bring this and slide back down without cutting hair. That's about the length that I'm looking for. Now watch how I'll just take that and I just come through 45, angling that up. So now I'm going after that top hair and I'm releasing more of that weight on the top. So I get a little bit more frothiness and movement in that top area. Let's take a look at it again on the opposite side. So we're showing you two different ways in which to weave and cut with a razor. Okay, so once again, product. Let's come through, let's weave. Keep the blade flat so that you can weave. Okay, once I weave, think about, do I want to go after weight? Turn down. In this particular case, we're going to go after a few more layers on that top. So I just turn up and come after that top hair. By weaving it, it just makes it really seamless. Now you could do this in the crown area. So if I've got a client that wants more volume in the crown area, watch how I'll come through, take a section. Okay, and now let's go through and let's weave. Okay, so I'm going to place short hair underneath all this weight, so I turned 45 up. So now I've got these weaved short pieces. Now I've got the length over it so that when we start to do this, the hair will just get a little bit more frothy and you're getting a little bit more sense of volume. So once again, guys, it's about finding and understanding how to use your tools in a different way. And I don't know about you, but I understand that I was taught not to cut with dry hair with a razor, but I think you can see the results in terms of what I'm getting and how awesome the technique is in terms of how it works. But product is not an option, it is a necessity. So let's recap. I worked with our straight edge blade with our razor that swivels so that you can control the angle. In this particular case, I showed you two ways to weave. So you're taking out a minimum amount of hair by weaving. If you want to take out more weight, rotate the angle down. You're going to take out more weight. If you want to create more soft layers or release just a small amount, rotate the angle up and slide out. It's a great technique to work with. And once again, once you learn something, do me a favor, share it with your teammates at the salon. A team is more than a collection of people. It is a process of give and take. And at Sam Villa, we want to make hairdressers better hairdressers, and we will continue to do that through the process of education. Thanks for watching.
All right. Hope you guys enjoyed that video. Let me get on screen here. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I did see some questions coming through, so I want to address those questions. Some were about the video that we played prior to doing the bob haircut, and then some are about the app. So the first question is from Dale. He says, why the gloves? So on the very first video, I wore gloves cutting hair, and I said in the video that, you know, I was kind of prepping myself to just kind of see what it was like, which is what a lot of us could do at home with the mannequin head. Just kind of see what it feels like to cut hair with gloves. Now, some people might not cut hair with gloves. I think with Georgia opening up and seeing the guidelines for what salons have to do and what they don't have to do, you don't have to wear gloves. They recommend it, I think was the ruling on that. But basically, you don't have to wear gloves, but for me, the virus lives on hair, so I don't understand why we wouldn't wear gloves, especially when we're doing consultation or anything like that. And you know, you can clean the hair and everything before you cut it, but you're going to be shampooing with gloves, and it's just going to be a different feeling. And that's just my personal opinion. I'm going to probably be doing that. So I wanted to try it out, and I filmed these videos last week, and you guys know that day to day, everything gets different and twisted and worse or better, or you never know. So I started filming these videos because I just wanted to cut hair with gloves. Now, to let you guys know, it didn't feel different in the hair. I didn't seem to have an issue with cutting. The only thing that happened was when I did the dry cut with gloves, I had no problems because my blade was far away from the gloves. But when I did my precision cut, which was the video I showed you guys today, I cut through the gloves one time. So that was a little bit of a hassle, and I had to change the glove, but obviously it's worth it for, you know, if you're staying healthy doing it. Now, Dale's question was, he noticed that even before the pandemic, he noticed that a lot of barbers are doing it. Is this function or fashion? And it's function. If you guys know any barbers out there, barbers do it because when you're cutting hair, when you're cutting a lot of men's hair all day and you're doing a lot of tight fade clipper work, those little tiny hair slivers go into your hand. So a lot of times they wear the gloves so that they don't get those hair slivers or hair splinters, whatever you want to call them, in their hands. So that's the reason for that. I would say it's a little bit fashion too, because I mean, I cut a lot of men's hair. I don't wear gloves and never really had a big issue, but I also don't do super tight fades. So I can't really relate to doing that job and that type of haircut constantly all day for 20 people. So that's probably why. I think it's Zara or Zara says, do you always cut one side first and then the other after? Most of the time I do. And this is on the bob haircut as well. I'll cut one side. And like I said, I cut the weak side first. And that's a transition that I've made over the last couple of weeks. I cut the weak side first and then I do my strong side after. It just allows me to create the shape and really perfect it on my weak side, get it as great as I can, and then go through and mimic those lengths and the different things on my strong side. And I have a more success rate doing that. And that's what I was testing out, cutting that bob. Kristen's asking, she says, stupid question. No questions are stupid. She's saying, let's see. How do you like things on the app? So on our app, there's a community. So right when you open it, the very first thing you're going to see is a community page where you can post your work on there. Now, you can double tap on Instagram, but on our app, and that's a great feature that maybe we should add. You just have to hit the heart to like it. So it's not like certain things are like obvious. And this is where, when we were developing it, there's a lot of things that come up, little small details that you're like, oh, you should probably be able to double tap it. So maybe that feature will be coming up, but for now, just hit the heart when you like somebody's image. And coming next week, we're going to have alert, like you'll get a notification when somebody likes your image and you'll know who that stylist is, and you'll be able to write them and tell them thank you and all that stuff. You can comment right now, but you can't reply to a specific stylist. So we're changing that. So Barbara is in the chat, and I saw somebody say to Barbara, so Barbara's not a stylist, and she's watching this show, and I have no issues with somebody that's not a hairstylist watching this show, because first off, Barbara's not learning how to cut hair well by watching this show for an hour. And we've talked about that in the past shows. So, but what Barbara's question was, she said, I'm not a stylist, but I love watching your videos. I've learned so much and enjoy your posts and videos. It will help me to find a stylist that is skilled and helps me as a client to communicate better regarding what I want. So that's what people need to understand, is that, people watch these videos, but most people are not going to take it upon themselves to try to create these styles on themselves. It's not possible. And like I've said before, it took me 16 years and I'm still changing my bob technique to try to get it perfect, right? So Barbara's not going to learn that. But what she will learn is keywords, and she might take notes, and she might figure out what a good stylist does when she sits in the chair. And then also the benefit of all of this, and it's why my wife and I, which I've talked about countless times on this podcast, the reason that we started to develop FSE Now and the app is that we started creating a stylistlocator.com website because we had so many people asking where they could find a good stylist and they couldn't. And there was nowhere that we could recommend for them. So now freesaloneducation.com and stylistlocator.com are connected through an app. So you create a profile, you fill out all the hair that you like to do, your salon information, you start uploading your work, and that all shows up on stylistlocator.com. So Barbara can go to stylistlocator.com, she can create a profile, and she can search for stylists in her area and start communicating with them to book an appointment or to do whatever, talk about her hair, all of those things. And that all happens within our new app that we've built. So like I've said countless times on this podcast, we started this 10, 11 months ago, had no idea that, that all of this was going to happen in the industry, in the world. But the benefit of this, once we're all open and the salon is going, is that you have a training tool that now connects you to clients. And that's the goal. And it's free. So that's even a bigger benefit for you guys. So, Kristen saying, now that worked. I thought I tried that. Sometimes you just gotta get it right on there. Double tapping would be a lot easier. So that's definitely something that we'll look to add. All right, cool. And then last question, Lynn says, isn't it okay to use a razor on dry hair if the blade is new? So, going back to Sam's video that just played, Sam used a razor on dry hair. And that was, for me, like I've talked about this before as well. You can use a razor on dry hair. It's sharper than a scissor blade. Like it's sharper than the blade on this thing. But it's got to be brand new. And that's kind of the key. And you want to make sure it's not one of those flimsy blades that you shave necks with. Some people cut hair with those, and it works sometimes on wet hair, but you want a nice firm blade when you're cutting dry hair for sure. So, and you'll notice that Sam sprayed product on the hair kind of constantly through that video. We use the Donald Scott Prepare when we cut on dry hair. We spray that on the section before we cut it. So it still has a little dampness to it. It's not fully dry when we're going through it. All right, let's check the request. So we have next up. So who is it? Who wanted to see somebody wanted to see a fade, a bald fade. Jackie wanted to see the bald fade. So what I'm going to do is this is pretty close to a bald fade, and I want to share this video from my pal Johnny Livingston, who is a super talented stylist. He was here in the studio last year, and we filmed this video together. He's got a model, Joel, who works in our town, and it's a cool video. It's a great makeover situation. He even goes through how to do some beard trimming and all of that. So you guys definitely love this video. Let me know if you have questions. Let's get started with the video. Here we go.
This is Johnny Livingston, better known as J Cash the Hair Tech on Instagram, and I'm here at FSE today, and I got something coming. We're gonna do a mid-fade tutorial just for you guys. So let's get to it. So let's get started. We're gonna use the Babyliss FX673. I'm going to start with my first guideline all the way closed. I'm going to go just below the temple peak point. We're going to round that out just over the ear. We're not going to take it up too high, but we're going to make sure that that's cleaned out. And then we're going to bring that all the way to the back because we're doing a drop fade. And then we're going to stop there, and then we're going to repeat to the other side. Make sure that you're flicking out just a little bit as you get to the top. That way it doesn't leave a line. Most of this fade, I'm going to be using like just the edges of the clipper from the center over or less. So now that we started closed, we're just going to open a little bit, and then we're going to go open all the way. So we already went through once, and we started with about the second position, and we just went up a little bit. Now we're fully open, and we're doing that again. We're going to go to the left side, and then we're going to go to the right side. Remember, just as you're getting to the hair, you're going to flick up and get that C motion going. That way you're not leaving a line. And you make sure you're doing small increments. That way you do not go up higher than what need to be. So now we're going to use a 3-guard. And we're going to use a 3-guard to take out some of this bulk. And we're going to go all the way up to the Parietal Ridge area. And we're going to go straight up. Do not go into the hair, into the crown area. Just go straight up from the Parietal Ridge area. And then we're going to go back and we're going to do the other side all the way to the back. Make sure that you're going left and right. Make sure you're crisscrossing because hair grows in all different directions. Don't just make one pass. Doing the same thing, make sure you're going straight up and down through the Parietal Ridge. Just doing a little bit more refining and a little bit more cleaning. Now we're going to take the 1-guard and we're going to do the same thing. I believe we're going to start with the 1-guard open, and we're just going to use the last 3 teeth, and I'm just going to use the edges of the blade. We're going to go about halfway from our last guideline, just using the corners, and then you'll see the dark spots, and you just tap them. You just want to feather them out just a little bit. And you can see from the shot when they go from the top that you can see the angle that I'm using. There it goes right there. And the angle is just everything because it keeps it clean and it keeps you from making other guidelines. Just keep cleaning it out, keep refining. Then we're going to go and we're going to start closing. And now we're going to go down. We're not going to keep going up towards the Parietal Ridge. We're actually fading down. And what I was just showing there was the position open first, middle, and then closed. And just going to that last guideline, just touching it, and then lifting away. Now we're going with the 1/2-guard, and we're just going to touch that line, and we're open and doing the same thing. We're just using the last 3 teeth of the blade, and we're just touching that line, just cleaning it out. And you'll see me float with the blade a little bit, and you'll see me open it and close it, open it and close it. And I'm just cleaning out dark spots that are in the fade. But you see from that top angle that I've really got that angled out, and I'm only using 3 teeth. You'll see me mess with the lever a little bit, and it's open, and then you'll see it closed, and then that's just refining the fade and cleaning it out. Getting rid of any little dark spots that I see. I'm going to use my favorite comb, do some clipper over comb technique, and remember, we're not going into the crown area. You're coming straight up off the fade, and we're coming out. And just cleaning off some of that bulk and refining it and making sure it looks really, really clean. Now we're going to go where we started, all the way closed, and we're just going to touch that line. And then we're going to go right into the beard, and we're going to start going down into the beard, opening slight increments and going about 1/8 to 1/16 of an inch down, and just using the corners again. And this is going to help separate it and make it real clean. You're just going to keep doing that all the way down, all the way up until we get the 1-guard on. We're going to do the same thing. We're just going to use the 1-guard, and we're going to start with it open or closed, and then we're going to open it up as we go down. Don't want to go down too far. I like to use the ear as a guide. Now here we are in the back, and I wanted to show the contrast. I keep the hair there to show the contrast, and I also wanted to show you 2 dark spots there that we're going to take care of later when we go with the clipper over comb. Now that is the Babyliss Original FX 765. Those are my balding clippers and my liners. And on here, we're just going to go right up to the line that we started with. We don't want to go into that line yet. We're just going to go right up to it. We're going to make sure the neck's real clean and on both sides. Then we're just going to do the same thing that we did before to get that line that I just showed out. We're going to use like the last 3 teeth. And you see my technique right there, just using that edge just to clean that up so that that line just virtually disappears. Almost want to use it like an eraser. Then we're going to do the other side, and you're going to see it. Just make sure you move the ears, because it sucks when you nick somebody with the trimmers. Doesn't feel good. All right, now this is a technique I learned using your powder. Just roll a towel up. It's good for sanitary reasons. And we're going to go into a little bit of clipper, or not clipper over comb. That's a scissor. Scissor over comb. Using my thinning shears. And we're just going to soften that line up through the Parietal Ridge area. You see, just cutting everything that's right at the spine of the comb. Now there's those two areas that I was talking about earlier. Just keep working them until they start to blend in and fade in with the rest of the hair. You don't want to play with them too much, but you want to play with them just enough so that it looks like everything else. And then we're going to go to the cut. So I started with a center parting, started in the back, moved towards the front. I think we added a little bit of length as we went to the front. He's kind of got a faux hawk style. And once we go there, we're going to use just a slight angle. After we get that front part cut, we're going to use just a slight angle, because like I said, we're kind of at a faux hawk, and everything with his style is going to be pushed into the middle. So now I'm going to take back partings to the last parting, all the way from the back to the front. Making sure that everything is nice and even, double checking. And the way I like to check is to go from front to back, because we just went back to front. Then we're going to join the sides with the top, and we're going to take those pieces and we're going to make sure that they're nice and even and that they're blended well, blending the side into the top part of the haircut. We're going to do the same thing to the other side. He had a couple of cowlicks in there that we had to deal with, and just shattering the front out a little bit just to soften it up, just to soften them ends up. And I'm going to show a technique with my thinning shears that I use, and it's basically cross hatching. I already went one way from right to left. Now I'm going left to right in diagonal sections. Then I'm going to comb that out. And to do the beard, I already measured it, so I grabbed a 3-guard. And make sure you do not follow the contour of the face. You're going to start on the face, but you're going to go straight down. You don't want to follow the contour of the face and go into the beard and lose bulk in the beard. You just want to go straight down. Here I'm talking about his line, his natural line of his beard, and that's what I'm using to base where the bottom part of the beard is to frame it. Just making sure that's real clean. We're going to go over to the other side. We're going to do the same thing. Just cleaning that out. We're not really going into the beard. We're just cleaning loose ends. He wanted to keep his beard. Here's a little trick I have before we line them up. You just use a spritz and put it on a neck strip. Put it on the hairline. Here I am talking about the temple peak point, and where if we were to put a hard line on the temple peak point, where it should be between the ridge of the eyebrow and the end of the eyebrow. So now I'm going to anchor my middle finger right to his cheekbone, and from that point I should be able to make a full half circle, a half circle, and it should make for a very good line. Then I'm going to clean up a little bit on the back side of the beard, all the way up to the ear. Make sure you're coming from the top to the center of the ear, and then you're going to fold the ear down. You're going to go from the bottom to the top again on the other side. And then we're going to go and do the same thing to the other side, but this time my anchor point is actually my wrist. and it does the same thing. Then we're going to clean his mustache off with my trimmers. A little bit of refine work if I see something sticking out. Then I'm going to use my Andis Pro Foils to clean the rest of that off and make it nice and smooth. And then I'm going to blow dry, blow drying it the same way that I'm going to style it, or that he's going to style it. And he likes to just push it to the middle, wants something that was quick and easy. So we're going to use the Maverick Dry Paste by Mitch. And this is a way I like to get it warmed up a little bit, because sometimes the dry paste is a little hard. We're going to start from the front, and then we're going to start putting it all through his hair. Now, this is a technique that I use to really pull out the texture, and it's just grabbing and twisting pieces. And if you need more, there's always more on the palm of your hand. And now I'm just refining a little bit more. And then look at that. Look at all that texture in that. Oh, we got a new man in the house. Cleaning him up. That's it. Here comes the shot emoji. Here it comes. Because I'm pumped up. He's pumped up. Happy clients. Bang, bang, bang. Thanks for watching. Free salon education on demand.
All right. Johnny Livingston, everyone. Glad you guys like it. I can see in the chat. Can you explain how he did the occipital area again? So I think the biggest thing for these kind of videos is definitely to, you'll be able to watch it later. You can rewind back and watch him do the occipital bone area. Also, it's available on FSE now as well, so you can just go watch it on there under the men's cuts. But Johnny, one thing I loved about, and that I learned from him when he was here, is that he would fade up and create a line, which a lot of barbers do, and then he jumped from like going from a no guard to a 3 guard and then faded down from that. So it was like, it was pretty cool the way that he went about that technique, because some guys will go like, you know, no guard to a half to a 1 to a 1.5, and they just kind of keep working that line out. I liked, and I took right away and started doing it on my men's cuts, just creating that line where I want the balance to be in the shape, and then going through with a higher guard, couple steps up, and then going back down to fade it from there. Just works really well. So, love Johnny's energy for sure. TM, it's good to see you in the chat as well. Love seeing familiar people. So there's so many people that I didn't know you guys all before. Some of you guys I've known for a long time. Some of you guys are new, but now I'm seeing you every day in the chat, which is really fun. So keep that going. Let me know what you want to see next. I had a request. So we're going to go back down memory lane a little bit, which we did yesterday. We went back to 2016. Somebody wanted to see an asymmetrical haircut. So I've got an asymmetrical pixie that was one of my favorites back in the day. So I'm going to roll that video for you guys. And I wish I could fast forward it through the... Let's see if I can. Actually, you know what? We'll just roll it. So I'm going to roll this video for you from 2016. It's a video that I created. It's an asymmetrical pixie cut. And then we're going to do some color after this one. So I promise some color coming up. Is there a specific color technique you would like to see? Post that in the chat or text me, and we'll get to that. Here we go. Let's get started.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's up, guys? Welcome to today's vlog. Today, what we're going to talk about is a haircut that I'm super excited about. It's a pixie cut. It's disconnected. We kind of shaved one side. We did go back to the mannequin head, so I apologize for you human lovers out there. But I know you guys are going to love this cut, and I know you can take a lot from it, even though it is a mannequin head. We created asymmetry throughout the entire haircut. What I love about it is we did scissor over comb in the back, so I think you guys will take a lot from that technique. We also brought it all the way into the side, and we shaved a little bit underneath. but left a disconnection that actually will go all the way up into the recession point. So you're gonna see this a big disconnection. The cool thing about it is you can flip it over and create a really cool style with it. You can see how the disconnection flows over into the asymmetry. It's just a really cool haircut. A lot of people are gonna like. The one thing I wanna talk about before we get into the step-by-step is we have a new scissor from Mizutani out. This is the Mizutani Pen Slim Scissor. I've been using it for 3 months, but I haven't been able to talk about it because it wasn't available yet. This is a nano powder metal scissor. It's super skinny. Look how thin that blade is. If you look at it compared to the blacksmith fit blade, see if I can show you guys. Look how skinny that thing is. What that means for you, razor sharp. It's great in your hand. It's super lightweight because it doesn't have as much metal to it, but it's also nice and powerful, which I love. I like the 5.5 inch scissor, so if you're looking for a new precision scissor, check it out. We have a great deal on this scissor on freesaloneducation.com. Wait till the end. I'll tell you what that deal is. Let's get started with our step-by-step. Here we go. All right, guys, so I'm excited to take you through this haircut. What we're going to do is we're going to start off by parting the hair on the natural part. Then we're going to take that natural part from mid-crown down to behind the ear. If your guest part's on the opposite side, just do the complete opposite. Now, the parietal ridge is where we're going to follow on the opposite side, the right-hand side of the head. I want to follow the parietal ridge, but I'm going to go high parietal because I'm going to layer the top of the hair and I'm going to razor the underneath, and I want more density on the underneath for when I go through and do that razor cut and create that asymmetrical kind of disconnected side. So we'll clip that away. I'm going to go through with my ergo paddle brush and I'm going to flat wrap the back. I'm going to go in doing scissor over comb. This is a technique that I love to use to create, a really nice even layered look in the back. We're going to go nice and short to almost disconnect the back of the pixie cut. If you wanted to leave the back a little bit longer in your version of the haircut, you could definitely do that as well. So I'm going to go through to start the scissor over comb. I'm using my blacksmith fit 6.5 inch scissor. I like using a longer scissor for scissor over comb. It's just more comfortable for me, and it helps me reach over the comb in a longer fashion so that I can cut more hair at a time. So I start going through there. I'm using my 209 comb from YS Park. It's got nice wide teeth, and I just work that comb nice and tight to the head. And then as I work my way up the crown, I start to slightly pull back, which will give me a little more weight in the low crown area. And I can determine, do I want to leave that weight or do I want to take it off later? I can figure that out as I go. So just kind of feeling out. This is a mannequin, but obviously if I was working on a guest, I would start a little bit longer, work my way in, see how her hair is reacting to the length that we're cutting. It's kind of why we go in and do that flat wrap, because it puts the hair in a natural fall position and it really sets you up for success when you're doing scissor over comb. I think a lot of people, when they go in and do scissor over comb in this situation, would probably go in wet and start cutting, but the hair just clumps together. You don't get that nice even flow to it. So if you want to have a really nice scissor over comb, go through, blow dry your section, and then start cutting. You can also notice that I have that steady blade working right alongside the bone of the comb. I put it at the bone of the comb because as you're going through working scissor over comb, the bone of the comb is where the hair starts to have the most tension, so you're going to get the cleanest cut at that point. Now we're going to go in with our Pen Slim scissor. This has been a scissor I have used it on a couple videos, but didn't really talk about it much because I'm in love with this scissor, but we didn't have it available, and I hate talking about things that, you can't, they're not attainable. So now we have it available on freesaloneducation.com. This is the most lightweight scissor I have ever used. So I start from that mid-crown area and I section down. I decide how much of that temple area I really want to cut short. Today I kind of went with I cut it in half, split the section in half. I just wanted a nice little shaved underneath portion, but I wanted a big disconnection that could kind of flop over the top of her head to create the look. So I'll go through, blow it dry. Now we're switching to our YS Park 339 comb. I am doing the scissor over comb with the Pen Slim. Like I said, this is a skinny blade, but it's a super powerful scissor, so you can definitely do scissor over comb with it. It's a good all-around tool to use. And I just go through using the wider teeth of the 339 comb and
shaving off that side, going a little bit shorter. You could also use a clipper on this portion of the haircut. So, you know, if you're more comfortable with a clipper, a lot of people have been asking me for more scissor over comb work. So I wanted to do that for you guys today, but you could absolutely use a clipper if you wanted to. Now we're going to work on our disconnection. So a lot of people are going to say, well, how'd you find your guideline with that? That is based on my personal preference. So as I elevate the hair and I disconnect this portion, I want to decide in my head, well, how much hair do I want to disconnect? And that's where I start to cut. So I went about 1.5 inches past where you would normally take your guide that would start to blend the haircut. And that's when I started cutting. So now I'm going to take a horizontal or section straight across the top of the head and then work that section. So this is basically the crown area, and I'm going to work vertical sections off of that. So we took our line, so now I have that crown section to work with. I keep combing it out vertically, holding it in my hand, nice high elevation, which will give me more of a blend, not so much of a weight line. And I work my way across the crown going to the previous section. So not much over direction, just bringing it over to the previous. Now I'm going to continue through the top. I want to create my layers on the top first, then work on the underneath portion after that, and the more disconnected asymmetrical side of things. So I'm going to go through, cut a nice even across the top. Everything's being over directed over the apex, the top of the head. So I'm not going all the way back to the crown. I'm going more to the high point of the head with my over direction, because if I went back all the way to the crown, the front would just be way too long. So depending on the look you're going for, again, you could over direct it more, you could over direct it less. So just customize it to your guest and how you want the look to go. Now we're going to jump into our carving comb. This is a really cool tool, super cheap, $34.95 on freesalon.education.com. The thing I love about this tool is it's so versatile. So I went through with scissors throughout the entire cut a precision cut. Then on my disconnection, my asymmetrical side, what I wanted to do is just have more of a freedom kind of feel to it. So I go through with the 100% carved side, I cut my angle, and then I go through with the 50% carved side, which is the opposite side of the carving comb, and it cuts 50% of the hair, and I just cut in some layers, and then that's it. That's the finished part of the look. It's so cool how easy a razor is. It's not necessarily something that I do on every haircut for the entire haircut, but it's a tool that you can use throughout your haircuts to add different textures and movement to it. So we go through, we blow it dry. I really start to use the heat of the blow dryer to create the flow that I want the hair to go in. And then I go through with my VibraStraight iron and I iron out just this side, the disconnected side, because then I'm going to go through and use our texture icing product, which what that's going to do is give me that texture and movement. But I wanted some of those straight kind of disconnected pieces on the asymmetrical side, the heavier, longer side. So we're using our Carve texture cream, which I've used in a lot of videos, one of my favorite products. Going through, I already blew dry the hair in this pattern, so it's not hard to get it to do what I want it to do. And I go through, add the carve. It really shows the pieciness of those layers that we cut with the carving comb, that we cut with the scissor on the top, that we scissor over combed on the side. And now I'll finish it off with a nice firm hairspray, and that gives us our finished look. So I hope you guys like this look. I really love this haircut. I think it's very versatile. You can use it on a lot of clients in the salon. Let me know in the comments below if you like it. Let me know how you change it up. Make sure you share your work on our social media site, fsesocial.com. And there you go, guys. Thanks for watching.
All right, guys, like always, if you like this haircut, then make sure you leave in the comments. Let me know what you thought. Also, if you want to pick up the new Mizutani scissor, use the code MattBeckBlog on freesaloneducation.com. You'll get 20% off. 20% off of this scissor. You won't get that anywhere else. Thank you guys so much for watching. Definitely subscribe below and let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. All right. So, what'd you think of that? Love it, love it, love it. Cool. Well, I'm glad you guys like it. That's definitely a throwback for sure. 100% a throwback. I love seeing those 2016. So this is the funny thing. This, and I don't know if you guys feel this way as well, but this whole like quarantine thing has got me like fired up like 2016 a little bit, because I just feel like this show and just creating and we're doing the app, and like I feel like free salon education is full blown going now. So me and Christina are working on it nonstop, trying to get things just going, and it's obviously a great time for online education as well. So I had a question in the chat. They want to know my favorite clipper. I also sent out a text to Johnny Livingston, so hopefully he will write me back before the show's over to figure out what clipper he was using in his video. I don't know the exact model or anything, so I don't want to put that out there. But people were asking my opinion on clippers, so I want to share with you guys my little clipper collection here. Let me get this off the screen. So my number one clipper that I use all the time is the Andis NVLI, I believe. This guy. Let's see if it'll, oh, look at that. So this one is kind of my go-to. And then this trimmer here, the Andis trimmer. I love both of these tools. I'm a cordless clipper guy. I don't like to have the cords, and I like to switch back and forth. I also use the Andis Supra ZR. Now this is metal blades, so it's a little bit different process. You got to buy all these blades. They're like 15, 20 bucks a piece. So it's a pretty expensive collection to have. And these blades get hot if you're not quick at cutting or quick at changing the blades. You spray the Andis Cool Care on there, all that stuff. It's great, but I don't use this clipper as much, if I'm being honest, as the other two. The other thing I like about the Andis clipper is that you can order these blades on Amazon, and they have a magnet in them, and so they snap on and they stay nice and tight onto the clipper. So I like that. Just make sure, depending on the clipper you have, you get the right one. Some of them come with 2 magnets. That doesn't work on this clipper because it has 2 screws right there. So you need the one with 1 magnet so it goes on there the right way. So the other clipper that I use, the only other clipper I use, I bought at a hair show recently. And I don't know. I love it. I love the look of it. It's the Babyliss clipper, cordless. I like it. The one thing I love about it the most out of using the Andis is that this is a smooth kind of back and forth. There's no clicking to it. This one has different settings and clicks. So if you're trying to get a nice tight fade, I can just click it to the next spot. And for me, it works really well. But like I said, I don't do a lot of tight fades, so I don't use this clipper as much. I just kind of rotate them back and forth. One thing I did like about the Babyliss, though, it came with a 1.5 guard, which was kind of nice for cutting hair. So that's it. Kristen saying that Andis NV is great. Just watch out for the charging port issue. Seen it a couple of times now. Yeah, that could be. It totally could be. I haven't had that issue. I've had that clipper for quite a while, probably about 3 years. But I could definitely see that being an issue. I also never leave it really plugged in because it charges up so fast that I never really see any issues. So I don't know, but it shouldn't have problems no matter what, whether you leave it plugged in or not. That's what I use, and they're out of stock right now. Becky, everything's out of stock right now. It's a weird time for purchasing stuff, which is probably a good thing because saving the money. All right, so I did have a question about kind of the money piece, and actually it was funny. This came up a couple shows ago. Somebody was like something about the money piece. What is that? I think Hair Like a Boss talked about it in his video. That's the piece that everybody sees, right? So I want to share this technique with Jill from Joico. She was in the studio and she shot this video. It's a quick video, 2.5 minutes, but it shares with her. Actually, this is the root tap video. So maybe I'll share that one on Monday. Just because I don't have Jill's, and I also don't have, I need Joico to email me back. That's the honest truth. So what I'm going to share with you guys is a beautiful block color style, but also highlight tutorial, and that'll end the show. I mean, I'll talk to you guys afterwards, but it's a highlight tutorial. Heather Kanoy from Paul Mitchell, she was in the studio and she filmed this really great highlight technique. But it's also combined with block color, using some demis and different things. So I think you guys will really dig this technique, and let me know if you have questions in the comments. I'll answer them afterwards, and make sure, yeah, I think that's it. So I'm going to start the video, and you guys can let me know what you think. I'll be watching the chat, and I'll come back afterwards. Here we go.
Hey guys, Heather Cottenoy here, Artistic Director at John Paul Mitchell Systems. This is Amy. We're going to be working through a beautiful block color dimensional coloring technique. You can see that Amy's hair has her natural regrowth for a few inches down to about that mid-shaft and ends. With the lighter shade of dimension, we're going to come through with 8NB, Paul Mitchell The Color XG, and 20 volume. This is mixed 1 part color to 1.5 parts of your developer. That way we're going to get a beautiful, soft, even lift scalp through ends. I'm starting off by taking a horizontal diagonal back section on the lower part of Amy's head shape so that we have a beautiful light dimension traveling all the way into the ends of the perimeter of her haircut, knowing that she has beautiful long layers. As I'm working through with the 8NB, you can see that I'm saturating everything thoroughly from scalp, and I'll flip a little bit more of those lengths and ends up into that foil so that we have a nice even saturation, so she gets a beautiful light transition all the way into the perimeter of her hair. You can see that my section size is about 1 inch thick, so I'll elevate the hair and saturate the underneath portion. This is also really going to help keep my foil stabilized and locked in place as I'm going to continue to work multiple shades in through the rest of Amy's base color. Working my 8NB, again, you can see I have a side-to-side swiping motion. This again is going to ensure I have thorough saturation through that 1 inch thick subsection. The next section of the light dimension we'll be creating is a little higher on Amy's head shape. Again, knowing that Amy's haircut, it consists of longer layers, I want to be sure my dimension travels through the shortest length of the layers into the longest length of the layers. So that section size again is about 1 inch thick. Being a little higher on the head shape is going to again allow that dimension to trickle through the top veil of her natural color. Flip and fold the rest of the length into that same foil. Be sure to thoroughly saturate where you fold that hair into the foil to ensure that you have a consistency in lightness all the way through the length of Amy's hair. So again, that last area on this side, full saturation, 8NB, 20 volume, and we're going to packet that up to isolate it from the base color. We're going to repeat this process on the opposite side, working 1 lower horizontal diagonal back and 1 higher horizontal diagonal back. Now we're going to come through and section out the rest of Amy's hair, starting from the top, working our way down to set us up for success when we apply the base color. Really being sure to clip and isolate that top layer of foils, and I'm going to use the midsection of her natural hair to also hold those foils up and away so that I can have a nice easy application starting from the bottom of the hair up into the top. Equal parts of 6N, 7N, and 8MT in the demi to equal parts of your Paul Mitchell processing liquid. The saturation and application is going to start in the front of the hairline on scalp all the way in through the ends in certain areas. I'm also going to recycle and reuse some of the lightness Amy has with a different formula. So as I saturate in certain areas, I'm inspecting the ends of the hair. If the ends of the hair are living a little bit lighter into about a 7 or 8 level, I'm going to isolate and keep those out, and we'll jump into another formula to neutralize that. Applying scalp into the ends with this formula, I'm really honoring Amy's natural hair color. Knowing that Amy hasn't visited the salon in quite some time, I want to make sure I can give her richness and depth without having a harsh line of demarcation where she's committed to come back through and keep that maintenance. In thicker areas of my sectioning, you'll notice that I'm applying the demi to the scalp everywhere, and what that does for me is it expedites my application time where I can thoroughly saturate through the mids and ends more easily. This is the area of the ends in the hair where you notice they're a bit lighter, so I'm keeping those out again. Seeing that those are a little bit more of a orange-based faded out color, I have to change my formula to really isolate and neutralize that shade. So right in that front, again, this is our deeper formula of the demi, equal parts 6N, 7N, and 8MT, our matte series, to honor her cool natural shade. Also eliminate a little bit of that red orange that's coming through on the mid area of Amy's hair from her faded previous color. Right here you can see I'm going to isolate and keep those ends out. Those ends are living more at a level 7 or 8, so we're going to create a perfect formula to neutralize a little more of the yellow gold in Amy's hair. We'll continue to work up the head shape. On those lighter ends, equal parts of 8N and 6BV with clear shine to allow a little softness and translucent to our deposit with your Paul Mitchell processing liquid. So the lighter edges of the hair that are living now at that level 7, you can really see that orange gold reflection coming through. The blue violet base along with the N from our level 8 is going to help to control how aggressive the blue violet can tend to be sometimes, especially on the ends where it's a lot more porous. I really am looking to neutralize rather than jumping on the other side and cooling out the ends. So you'll see our BV mixed in with our N is really going to be a nice complement to isolate and neutralize that warmth coming through on Amy's hair. She'll have a 20-minute processing time, and we're going to come through and give her a beautifully undone style with the memory shaper from Invisible Wear. Working that product all the way through and creating a wonderful polished blowout. Right there you can see is the lightness from our 8NB trickling through. I'm going to spray in our Orbit hairspray prior to curling the hair to give us a nice soft hold and a touchable feel as we create these beautiful waves in Amy's new hair color. I love that transition of the lightness with the depth that you can see and how we really cooled down the whole look of Amy's hairstyle. With the Undone Texture Hairspray, I'm really going to isolate and define certain areas and waves within Amy's hair for her to have a beautiful, soft, curly look. Now, the biggest thing, knowing that Amy's hair does tend to fade out and those warmer shades pull through, I have to be sure to send her with the perfect maintenance that she can maintain at home to richen up her color when she sees any of that fadage. With Colorcraft, we're going to customize and create a certain conditioner that Amy can use specifically for her hair type and her hair color formula. With the combination of the Colorcraft Cacao, Honeycomb, and Lapis, Cacao is our cooler brown into the Colorcraft, but I want to really be sure with the Honeycomb and the Lapis, that yellow and that blue, creating a green base to resist any of that red fadage. Thank you guys so much. For any more formulation tips or techniques, visit paulmitchellpro.com.
All right. That was Heather Anoy. So thank you to everybody for hanging in here, hanging in the chat. It's been an hour, a little over an hour and 20 minutes almost. I don't think we can keep this show to an hour. It's just almost impossible. Otherwise, we don't have enough education. So I hope you guys are feeling educated, inspired, going into the weekend. Just, I'll be back on Monday. We'll do more education. I know that, we're still not open, but there's hope and there's a lot of talk. So I'll be back on Monday. I'm going to do a podcast. We'll talk a little business stuff, but also I'll be doing this show as well. And we'll be doing the live request thing. So make sure that over the weekend, do me a favor, download the app, the FSE Now app. I'm going to play that for you again so you guys can get a look at what it's all about. This is the app. So that's the app, guys. Go download the app, FSE Now. If you're confused and you're in the App Store and you can't figure it out, then just go to freesaloneducation.com. It's the same thing. You sign up on the website, and then there's a link so you can go download the app and sign in. So it doesn't matter where you sign up at. You'll be able to sign up or sign into the app later on. Do me a favor, do that this weekend, and also share the app with your friends and share this show, because I want to grow this show. I want to have more people in the chat. We definitely had more people today than ever. So I'm really excited about that. Let me know what you guys want to see. Make sure you're texting this phone number. I see those texts. I'm gathering it all together, gathering the data, downloading videos so that I have them prepared and ready to play your requests. But I'll also take your requests live just like today. And we'll always have a throwback video from 2016 probably. The more people we get watching this show, the more access I will have to getting education libraries. Sam Villa has already, not always, Sam Villa sent his entire library to me. So I have access to any video in his library, which is unbelievable. So thank you to him for supporting this show. Paul Mitchell opened up their library to this show. And I'd love to see more brands do the same thing so that we have access to anything you guys could ever want to see. And the only way that that's going to happen is if we power in numbers. So join the show, join our website, and share it so that your friends know that it's there. So tag any stylist that you can in the comments. Let me know if you made it this far in the video. I'd love to see that. I love seeing who hung in there with me. And I can't wait to see you guys on Monday. And that's pretty much it. So thank you guys again very much. Have a great weekend. Stay healthy, stay safe. Can't wait to be back here 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time right here on YouTube and Facebook. Thank you guys.